If you're looking for a job in 2025 and you still have not been able to find one, whether it's been a couple of weeks, a couple of months, or maybe you also didn't have a job to end 2024, you're not doing well. You're not doing well at all. You're got to be dealing with some kind of imposter syndrome, or your mental health is not doing well. People are on the verge of bankruptcy. They're having breakdowns. They're going into the stairwell and crying. They're just not able to deal with it, right? People are screaming in the shower because they're so frustrated. They're having flashbacks and trauma about just hearing the words workday, about, please fill out the remainder of this application. And for many people who are going through this process, they're absolutely feeling abused because they're having to do all these assessments. Sometimes it's free work that's being done. There's a real world problem. And yeah, maybe they don't want to go through and pay someone $40, $50, $60,000 a year to do it. But they have a bunch of candidates who are just ready, willing, and eager to do whatever it takes to have the opportunity to win that golden ticket to maybe land a job interview. And okay, they'll do this free work for you. You're talking to virtual recruiters, you're talking to AI assistants, and you're just jumping through all these hoops. And it just really does feel like you're just being taken advantage of, because this is very difficult for a lot of people. And everybody's story is different. But there's certainly a good amount of people who were able to make a pivot to something else in 2008. There are people who were able to land really good jobs in 2020, 2021, 2022 even. Remote jobs, work from anywhere jobs, high paying jobs. But just since maybe the end of 2022, it's gotten a lot more difficult. And maybe there was the boom during COVID because companies are really focused on how to take advantage of people who were nervous about leaving the house and were stuck in their home just online shopping. And that was the ultimate opportunity for many organizations to just prey on the scared and the terrified. And hey, you're at home, you're scrolling through social media, let's put some ads there. You're doing some online shopping, let's have some deals there. You need an app about your mental health and well-being, or you need some other kind of app or website that you need to use because maybe you can't go out in person and you don't know what the heck is going on out there. Let's take advantage of that. But now things have died down. And yes, there was some overhiring, but I mean, we're at way more than just a standard correction, because folks who had jobs in 2019 are struggling to land a job in 2024 and 2025. And employers know that. And we also had a long history of quiet quitting, quiet everything else, right? Overemployment. Basically, some bad apples definitely helped ruin it for the whole bunch. And these employers are like, nope, not anymore. Now that the tables have turned, and these employers are like, now that we're in charge, we're the captain now. We ain't playing any of this stuff. We're gonna put you're gonna have to go through hell and high water to be able to land a brand new job. And that leaves a lot of people feeling down, distraught, and certainly abused. So today we start with Thomas, who says, I am not doing well. 2025 has been the most difficult and challenging year of my 42 years on this planet. My mental health is the worst it has ever been. Constant stress about how to feed my family, keep the lights on, the roof over our head. I'm sure this is wildly inappropriate and unprofessional, but this challenge is the reality for so many smart, hardworking people who just need a break and aren't getting it. And there's an argument to be made from people who are like, how could you have more kids at a time like this? Or how could you have any kids at all? Or like, even more doom and gloom than you might think this channel is. Like, if we're cooked now, why would you put more kids through this? But maybe you already had kids. Maybe they're already a little bit older. And maybe you have a wife and, she's got to stay home, take care of the kids, help around the house. Maybe you have some relatives or family members to take care of. It's one thing to say, all right, go get a job at McDonald's. Okay, maybe you can figure out how to make that support yourself, especially if you get some roommates, if you have the opportunity to move home with mom and dad. But what if you're a man supporting a wife, supporting some kids, and you've always been able to get some kind of job, and now you just can't? $40,000 job isn't gonna pay all of your bills, especially not for a wife or kids. A stopgap job at Marshall's or some other retailer might not even give you benefits. And with kids and with a spouse, you're gonna want benefits, right? So even if you work multiple part-time jobs, you're out on your own trying to go out, I guess, into the marketplace and trying to find some kind of benefits. Maybe you can work at a warehouse. Well, maybe you're a little bit older, right? Maybe you're in your 40s and you got random aches and pains and something hurts all the time. Some different part of your body hurts every week. And maybe you can't go out and be a welder, work at a warehouse, be a plumber. Maybe you can't tell a wrench from a wristwatch and you don't know the first thing about cars, can't be a mechanic. Maybe you don't have the money saved up to go back and be a bedside nurse, or to go back to college, spend 3 or 4 more years in college, maybe more than that, and get a brand new degree and then put yourself even more in the hole because now you have more student loan debt. There's just a lot of things. It's one thing to maybe just have a tunnel vision, pigeonhole your thought process around a single young man, whether they can make it in this crazy mixed up world or not. But it's another thing if you have additional responsibilities and additional people to take care of. It's not so easy to just get any job and be able to completely provide for your family. Thomas continues, I hope that LinkedIn would help me bounce back after a shocking layoff and I would be back to work quickly. That has not been the case. This application was meant to help us connect and network, but instead it has turned into an abusive relationship. People reaching out to offer assistance are just scam accounts trying to get my already non-existent money. Hiring managers offering interviews because they have to when they already know they will hire internally, or worse, just straight up ghosting. AI removing the entire human element from human-facing jobs is criminal. If my words bother you, make your eyes roll, or you want to offer some advice about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, I would kindly ask you to not say anything at all. I'm working harder being unemployed than most people are at their jobs. This has nothing to do with my effort. For those of you that this hits home for, know that others are feeling the same. While I can't offer much, I can be an empathetic ear. Feel free to reach out. And some people will say on LinkedIn, put that open to work banner. But that's not going to get you more solid job offers. That's not going to put you into consideration, into the running for some jobs that you might not even be familiar with. No. People are going to reach out to you, selling you $500 resume courses or packages, selling you some kind of course to land your next job, basically risk-free. It's a no-brainer. We'll help you land your brand new job. You're just missing all kinds of things. We can teach you how to get a new job. You can't. You probably can't. And yeah, you lose the human element. But on this channel, you can say, oh, HR is useless, whatever. But we see all the HR people, the majority of the people that we go over their stories from are human resources, talent acquisitions, recruiters, staffing specialists. We can see that we could talk about the tech jobs being outsourced, but the HR jobs, a lot of these are just being replaced by technology. And we could say, oh, AI will eventually replace tech workers. I don't know, maybe. But right now, the near and present danger is for tech workers to have their jobs outsourced to different countries. And the current issue with HR is that, all right, these AI tools might not be great. If you've ever done a Workday application, you know they're not great, but they're good enough and the employers are happy enough with it to just keep riding with it, keep rocking with it. And all right, well, if all the HR people are being let go, the staffing people, the talent acquisition specialists are all being let go, then yeah, you're being left talking to AI. And that is not really how I think our system should be set up. I know it's more convenient. I know it saves the company a lot of money, but it's not like but it's not like it's helping them land the ideal candidate. I was watching this YouTube video the other day. This person had been laid off, but she was in a manager position before the first round of layoffs. And then after that first round of layoffs, then she was left there, right? But then she had to switch and basically be demoted from software engineer, manager, or whatever, to an individual contributor, just doing the coding herself. And in a different video, she just was talking about how she did hire people when she had the opportunity to hire people. All right, she got 3,000 applications, maybe 30% of the people didn't have the work visa, 30% of the people didn't meet the minimum requirements, and then there's another whatever remainder there. And out of the remainder, okay, then it's like she, funneled it down, right? 3,000 applications, hired 2 people. 1 person was a referral. Well, what the heck is the point of even applying to jobs if you got 3,000 people and you can't find anyone besides the person who's referred? Not everyone has this amazing network to just pluck them out of the pit and put them into a brand new job. And the other person, even though it was a remote job, had to be in the city where the headquarters was. And we know what that's going to lead to. Oh, well, we know that you're 15 minutes away. So maybe once a month, just come in, check in with the team. No big deal. Well, that's not a remote job. So she was very proud of this hiring process when it was like, oh, come on, 3,000 people and for a remote job, and 1 person maybe didn't have the referral, but they're at least close enough to headquarters to have to come in for team building and all this other kind of nonsense. And the other person was a referral. How are you supposed to compete with that? Take away the remote aspect. Okay. 1 out of 2 people was a referral. So sometimes you think, well, why even waste my time going through this? You're getting free work from me, you're getting free labor, all this stuff, but unless I have a referral attached to this, I'm just doing work for you and I'm not getting anywhere. I mean, people have had enough of this. You hear these breakdowns about people who have corporate jobs, and they will basically say, oh, well, if you really focus on your job, take away meetings, take away water cooler talk, take away one-on-ones, take away just the waste of time. Most of your day in corporate is a waste of time. Drill it down to your actual work that you do. It's 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours of focused work in your 8 to 10 hour day. But if you're applying for a job, if you're really serious about it and you're treating it like a full-time job, you're spending all day, maybe a full 8-hour shift, nonstop, focused, dialed in. So yeah, it's going to be less work to have 2 to 3 hours of focused work as opposed to 8 hours of all day applying to jobs. So it sounds crazy, but yes, in many cases, it's much easier to have the job, to work the job, than to apply and try to find the job. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but if you really think about it, I think it's true. Next, Charles says, how is the job search going? This morning, I followed up with 158 recruiters who had reached out to me over the last 18 months. The content was a recap of my capabilities and an updated resume. These are professionals I had real conversations with, discussing roles, companies, and potential fit. The response? 32 of the emails bounced back. No auto forwarding, no handoff, just gone. That's a 20% failure rate. He continues. It's a striking reminder of how quickly the hiring landscape shifts. Recruiters change roles, companies reorg, inboxes go dark. If you're searching, waiting for that, we'll keep your resume on file follow-up. This is your nudge. Keep driving the process. The people you spoke to last quarter may no longer be there. This experience also highlights the value of maintaining active, not passive relationships. Networks age, just like tech stacks and job descriptions. So how's the search going? It's going with momentum, persistence, and a few surprises along the way. If you're hiring or navigating your own transition, I'd love to connect. #JobSearch. And that's a wonderful thing to think about. Just like people switch jobs, recruiters switch jobs, or they get laid off, or they get fired, whatever. And it's important to remember that you build these relationships with these people, not necessarily their staffing company. So still check in with them because they might be at a new organization and they might have some new opportunities. Or maybe they had opportunities in the past and now they're at a different company that doesn't have as many opportunities. Or maybe they did that before and now they've gotten laid off and they're looking for a job too. So even if you can actually get in contact, if you can actually cultivate a relationship with a recruiter, with a talent acquisition specialist, definitely keep that warm, because there's a lot of turnover and there's a lot of change, and you want to make sure that 6 months down the road, you send an email to the recruiter that you knew, you're not just getting bounce backs. Maybe you are connected with them on LinkedIn. That's probably even better, because then you can message them, DM them when it's time to get a new job, or you're looking for a brand new job, and it's not just going to be an email that goes nowhere. It's going to be directly to them, which is tied to their personal account, their personal information, as opposed to, their name at Robert Half or something like that. But let me know what you think about these stories down in the comments below. And if you have some extra time, YouTube thinks you get a lot of value out of the video on screen now. And until next time, remember, times are tough, but so are you. Talk to you later.